Hey, this is Drew Rom, and you're listening to the Talking Birdie podcast.
Fly ball left field. Nate McLouth is there. And the magical season of the Baltimore Orioles continues.
Ball and 2 strikes on Goins. Ground ball to first. There's Pierce. And the Orioles are champions of the AL East.
And everybody knows he's ready to fire on the first one. Bases loaded. Young swings, line drive. That is down and to the wall. Cruz is in. Pierce is in. Party around third. He's going to try to score. And safe. The Orioles have the lead.
With the first selection of the 2019 MLB Draft, the Baltimore Orioles select Adley Rutschman, a catcher from Oregon State University.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 23? 23 of the
Michael
Talking Birdie
Michael
podcast,
Jordan.
Our Jordan episode, and
Yeah.
it's fitting for the guest that we have coming on in a little bit.
But I will say it's not the last dance. We'll have more after this.
Yes, unfortunately, you're not rid of us yet.
Yeah.
But welcome to the Talking Birdie podcast. It's me, Ryan, with Josh and Brad, as per the usual. What's going on, boys? How you doing?
Doing good, Ryan. Just wrapped up our interview with Mr. I'll let you announce it, but it was a good time.
Yeah,
Yep.
dude.
We just wrapped up interviewing O's prospect Drew Rom, who was an absolute joy to have on. He answered all of our questions in great detail and really just seemed like he enjoyed being here, and we really enjoyed having him. So obviously, thanks again to Drew. We're so glad that you were able to come on here and join us.
Absolute gem of a human being right there. Awesome dude to hang out with. Yep.
Yeah, very insightful.
He also recorded a special clip for us, which you will probably have heard in the intro of this episode.
If I felt like doing it this week.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, if not, if Josh is going to be a lazy piece of shit after this, you'll hear it next week.
Yep.
But,
We'll never know. We do have some other guys we're working on. So stay tuned. Some exciting things coming forward with this podcast.
We have probably some super sick giveaways coming up as well.
Oh yeah,
we have some of those planned and in the pipeline. So we're hoping maybe to do, if all goes well and we actually have a proper opening day, we'll probably do a giveaway to celebrate that. So definitely keep an eye out for that if you follow us, and if you don't, you should follow us. And you should tell other people to follow us.
Yeah, actually, our giveaways a lot of times are incentivized by having a higher follower count. So the more you can help us out, the more we'll help you out.
Yep. And the more the followers go up, the better the giveaway gifts will get. So
absolutely.
Yep.
Like I said, the Cal Ripken Jr. debut jersey will be coming.
Yes. Yeah. Eventually, maybe when we cross like 600 followers, we'll be able to give away the actual jersey that Cal wore on 21-31. Yeah, so that's the kind of caliber of giveaways we're talking about here, people. So get those follower counts up.
We will not be doing that. Disclaimer.
Oh shit! You didn't need to say that, Josh. But anyways, without further ado, there's nothing to talk about on the baseball front. We're still in a lockout. We have
we're in purgatory.
No indication that it's going to be ending anytime soon. So without further ado, here's our interview with Orioles pitching prospect Drew Rom. And joining us now via Zoom, drafted in the 4th round of the 2018 amateur draft out of Highlands High School in Fort Thomas, Kentucky, and current number 25 prospect in the O system, it's Drew Rom. Drew, how are you doing today, man? Thank you so much for being here.
I'm doing great. How about y'all? I'm pretty psyched for this one. So
good, man. So, yeah, we definitely appreciate having you on.
So are we. We're really excited, man. Thanks for being here. Guess we'll jump right into it here.
I'm sorry about the news today that you won't get professional ABs anymore. No DH.
I'm okay with that one after seeing some of the pro guys. It's like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I mean, fastball, I'm fine, but once you start doing all the breaking stuff, no, I'm out.
Right.
We'll do just a little. We'll ease into it here. Drew, what do you like to do outside of baseball? You have any hobbies that you really like to get into in the off season or anything?
Honestly, just a whole bunch of video games for real. I mean, basically, that's what I do in a lot of my free time is video games. Just kind of something to like kind of wind down or just like even wind me up throughout the day. Just kind of something to do, and then just kind of hanging out. I mean, pretty laid back. So
I had guessed because you have a pretty sick gaming chair right there.
Yeah.
I was just playing Halo while we were waiting for you to jump on here.
I'm actually jealous because I have a PlayStation, so I haven't been able to play Halo. So, yeah, I'm honestly thinking about the Switch now, just because everything that Microsoft is doing. But we'll see how it goes.
Just get a PC, bro.
I can't do PC. Like I can do PC with controller, but like PC with all that other stuff, no, too sweaty.
Yeah, I don't play Halo on mouse and keyboard. I'm nowhere near good enough for that. I just plug the old Xbox controller in.
Honestly, yeah, but I mean, it's a lot of time and money you got to put into it. But yeah, they're too sweaty on there.
Yeah, they are.
Drew, do you play on a MLB The Show?
Oh yeah.
So what's it like using yourself as a video game character? Do you get mad because they underrate you on that game?
I would say honestly, I haven't even used myself. I don't think I'm up there in the overall to where I can use myself. I'm a big Diamond Dynasty player. I don't really play franchise or anything. So like if I'm not on Diamond Dynasty, I'm not playing myself.
I gotcha.
You never gone on there and just boosted your stats to like a 99? Just so let's do it. Cy Young.
I used to before like I got drafted, and like I would play some franchise stuff, but like now ever since I got into it, like it's basically Diamond Dynasty or nothing.
You got to hit up Zach Watson or like Ryan McKenna. Kobe Mayo was streaming the other night.
Yeah, I commented on Waddy's stream the other day, so
okay.
Well, he's my roommate for most of the time in Bowie, so like I always watched him play, or like we would always play together if he wasn't playing something other than Tarkov. But
okay, yeah.
That's a tough game, man. I can't get into it.
I had no idea what was going on just watching this stream.
No, I can't. I get so lost so easily.
It's so in depth. Like it's not just a shooter game. It's like you have to like build a base and like put gas in the generator to like keep your base up and running. And then like some days you might log on and see that someone raided your base and took all your shit.
Yeah,
like, it's so
too
insane.
Much. Just give me like COD or something. We're good.
Yeah. Yep.
Drew, I read you had a commitment to University of Michigan. I did live about 20 minutes from U of M. What went into your decision to sign with the O's and forgo Michigan?
Honestly, just kind of what felt right to me, and like the fact that the O's were willing to make that commitment towards me with the money and everything, and just kind of the confidence that it gave me. Plus, the guys at Michigan, they said, "Hey, if it feels right to you, and if you feel like it's a good thing for you, then we'll be in your corner 100%. Like, there's gonna be no hard feelings, no nothing. We're just gonna be the biggest Drew Rom fan." So, yeah,
that's cool. Did you ever meet Jackson Lamb by chance?
I
think he was a junior in 2018.
I would say I might have like met him or just like talked to him a couple of times, but like not really like actually had a conversation with him. Just kind of like rushed past him or something like that. So
okay, just curious.
Yeah.
Right on. So Drew, do you have any expectations or idea they told you where you're going to be starting the 2022 season?
Not really. I mean, I'm just kind of going to a blank slate and just kind of work my way and try to prove myself to whatever they think. So.
Yeah, I hear you. So you ended the season in Bowie last year, the last half of the year, had some success there. So they had a crowded Double-A roster, I know, at the end of the last season. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. They got a lot of roster squeezing in to do. So
yeah, so I mean, with the whole CBA thing, I'm going to make them make the hard decisions. So that's my goal.
Yeah, for sure. Cool,
absolutely, man. So, Drew, do you have I'm sure you've met a lot of people since joining the organization. Who is the best friend that you've made since you signed with the O's?
Wow, that's be a hard question, but I'd probably say the top two would be Adam Stauffer and Zach Watson. I mean, me and Stauffer, we went back to the GCL days, and like we were kind of always together at that point, and like even then, And even now, like, we still talk on the daily for the most part. And then just kind of Watson, we've just kind of been there through everything, and we've just been roommates for most of it. So it's hard not to be best friends with him. So
Zach had a pretty impressive power surge this past season. Not many people expected to see him hitting the bombs that he was hitting.
I think it was because I was making fun of him for being soft. So
that's got to be it then, huh?
That's got to be it.
I mean, both of you guys shut up.
I had to do something there. I had to do something to help.
Just talk a little shit, make him work a little harder.
Exactly.
Yeah, does a trick sometimes, man.
Yep.
Well, I mean, especially in spring training, we get after each other in spring training. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it gets kind of nippy in spring training, especially doing live at bats. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually had a chance to check out the Twin Lakes complex last year, the minor league park. How does that compare? Like, do you have any idea how that compares to other minor league parks? I don't know if you've seen any of the other ones or not.
Honestly, I got no idea.
It looked like just kind of like a rec park, but the fields look nice. So
yeah, I mean the fields and like the facility, like in general, is like super nice, but kind of everything around is just it kind of does feel like you're just going in for like a summer ball tournament almost.
Right.
But I mean, it's kind of the same feel when you go to like a bunch of these backfields with like the Rays and the Twins, because like those are the only places I've actually traveled to. Other than that, they've all come to us whenever I've had pitch. But like seeing all these places out in Arizona, yeah, those places in Arizona are super nice.
Oh yeah, I bet. So it's mostly like in minor league camp, inter squad scrimmages. You're not going much against other organizations.
Well, that and I just got kind of lucky where I didn't have to travel. Everything was at home.
Oh, right. There you go. Okay. Cool.
I've heard the travel schedule's hell in spring training. Don't know if you can attest to that, like at the major league level, but like the minor league guys get to just kind of vibe.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's hell, but like, I mean, yeah, like that Fort Myers bus after like a long, like hot game or something like that. Like, yeah, it smells, and you just want to get back as fast as possible. Because, I mean, you're just sitting out there baking for like 3 hours in 110-degree heat, and like you just want to get back and like go to bed at that point. I mean, it's really not that bad. And I know they've done stuff in like the last like 2 years to kind of make that travel a little bit easier. So we'll go and play the Pirates a little bit more. We'll go and play kind of the Phillies and kind of like some of the closer teams a little bit. But I mean, other than that, I don't find it too bad.
Drew, I'm sure you've worked with a lot of coaches so far to get to where you are. If you could pick one coach that you've worked with so far, which one would you say has had the biggest impact on your success and where you're at right now?
Honestly, I really can't pinpoint one. Honestly, it's probably up to two. It's probably Ramsey and Conway. Because, I mean, Conway at the beginning of Aberdeen, like that was a big component in my mechanics and everything. And then Ramsey kind of just taught me how to be a pitcher and like how to grow up almost. And like, because he had me in Delmarva too, and also having me in Bowie, kind of was able to, I guess kind of like fast track me towards like that maturing standpoint. So, I mean, like that was the biggest thing. And like, he's not going to be there and hold your hand or anything like none of them are. He expects you to figure it out on your own. Like, he'll give you tips and pointers when you ask for it. But other than that, like, he expects you to be a big league pitcher at that point and kind of figure out your stuff. And then Conway, he really nailed down my mechanics during Aberdeen. I think that was the biggest help for me, kind of all on the mound type of thing was him. And yeah, Ramsey was definitely off the mound type stuff.
Okay. I don't know what kind of mix you've had with it, but like between coaches that have been former pros and then coaches who have been pretty much just strictly coaches to get to where they are, like have you developed like an opinion on which one you maybe prefer, or like the benefits and drawbacks of each one?
Not really. Like kind of when you get into pro ball, like they kind of all kind of mix into the same kind of boat. Like they'll all have that professional opinion. It's just some guys will have a little bit more insight on the daily stuff. So like the former pros and everything will have more insight on that stuff and be able to help you with all that. But the guys who kind of just get like brought into it, they'll kind of be more like full picture guys. So, I mean, it's really like kind of a good mix if you have both those types. So, I mean, I really don't see that huge of a difference between them, but some other guys might, but I haven't.
Okay. You're more of like a stats guy too, right? Like even before, you're more into the advanced analytics. What's like a stat at the end of the year you look at to grade your performance? Like if you have like one, maybe you piece together a couple, but.
Honestly,
Say it, man. Say shit. Just say it. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you're going to look at like ERA and stuff just to make sure that like you had a good year. But I mean, for the most part, I look at like hard contacts, ground balls, and like your whip. Like that's kind of like the big three I focus on, is because if I can limit my whip, then everything else is going to kind of work out. And if I can limit hard contact, then I know I'm getting this ground balls and the strikeouts that I need.
Well, I've heard Kevin Biggio talk about like how on base percentage is like what he looks at because he knows the rest of it will be in line. But yeah, that about lines up.
Hey, man, as a slow pitch softball guy, I'm all about OPS.
Yeah, I mean, as a slow pitch pitcher, so am I. It's all right.
You pitch slow pitch?
I mean, no, but that's what my fastball feels like sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, there you go. I was going to say, you find time in your downtime to play slow pitch softball?
No, I mean, I probably would if I could, but we'll see how.
Hey, maybe after your baseball career, man. But that's hopefully a long way away.
I mean, I probably will have to. I'll be so bored. I'll probably have nothing to do with myself.
Oh, dude, it's a good time. It's a good time. You'd enjoy it for sure. I mean, you might not be like the most overpowered guy, but your K numbers are always up there. You know, along with the top guys like Grayson and who else were we talking about earlier? I mean, we were comparing them. DL, yeah. So you still find a way, man. You still find a way.
I already know I'm not going to blow up past kids. I just got to find a way to outsmart them, really, just to make them think the opposite of what they're thinking.
I mean, your final 3 starts in 2021 went 14 innings with a 0 ERA, 18 strikeouts, and 1 walk and 5 hits. Those are video game numbers there, man.
Thank you.
I watched you pitch the season finale in Akron in the final championship game or whatever. I was sitting on the first base side. As soon as I found, like, I was looking at the speed radar, I was like, no way that dude strung only 92. Like, you just had like a presence on the mound. It looked like it was coming in a lot faster than that.
I mean, I've been told that it like kind of explodes out the hand, but like, I mean, I don't really feel like it. I just kind of throw it. I don't really like try to do too much with it. I just kind of let it fly in there, see what happens.
It works.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna knock the process if it works. So,
dude, hell yeah, man.
You have to trust the process, man.
Yeah, it got you there, so keep rolling with it, right?
For sure.
So, has there been any particular jump from one level to the next? It's felt like bigger than any others, whether it be from low A to high A to Double-A.
High A to Double-A for sure.
Okay, so what do you think is
kind of the hardest for sure?
Okay, so what's been the biggest difference? Oh, I mean, obviously they're more talented, but is it that they're more patient, or is there anything along those lines? What's the difference to you?
Honestly, their whole mentality, like just their approach they take to the plate is way more matured. It's kind of like that big league approach that you'll see when you keep moving up the levels, because I mean they're patient and like they're not gonna go chasing everything. And like, I mean, high A, you can still get away with some chase stuff and like even stuff that like you even start out and went like ball to ball, but you got to make sure everything is strike to ball or even ball to strike, because you're not going to get guys swinging on some dumb pitches.
Right.
Unless, of course, like you're Grayson or DL and have like that 100-mile-per-hour fastball, and good for them at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
So let me see which one I'm on here. I'm going to ask you 2 really quick. So why hasn't Bowman made a Drew Rom card yet?
I don't know. I mean, that's up to them. That's a question you got to take up with them. I got no idea.
When I heard we were getting you on, I was like, because me and Josh are both really big time collectors, and I got on eBay and I'm like, I got to buy myself a Drew Rom autograph card, and there's nothing.
Yeah, I know I have a Topps card, but I don't think I have that Bowman. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you'll have to ask them. And I mean, I honestly wouldn't mind a card deal from them because there'll be a little bit more money in the pocket. So
yeah, absolutely. And I feel like there's prospects of much lower stature than yourself that have cards. That's just why I found it kind of strange.
Use it as bulletin board material.
Yeah.
Use that as the disrespect card all year long. I don't even have a fucking card, man. You know? Every time you take the mound, that's got to be going through your head.
I mean, that is basically what goes through my head every time. And say, I'm going to go out here and crush it, and I'm going to prove I'm better. So,
dude, hell yeah, man.
Hell yeah, man. So I noticed on your Instagram, it looked like you played soccer in high school.
Yeah.
Did you ever intend on like taking that to the next level, or was it always baseball?
No, I mean, honestly, I thought I was gonna be a soccer player growing up, all the way up until like sophomore year, and someone told me, "Hey, you should probably like go play baseball because you got a better shot there than you do in soccer."
Yeah, it's hard to make it as an American in that sport
Yeah.
for sure. It's just and do you watch it at all, and do you have a club that you support?
Yeah, 100%. I still watch it. I don't really have a club per se. I mean, there's a couple clubs that I prefer watching over others. Like I like watching Man City play. I like watching Leicester City play, and then I just like watching Zlatan Ibrahimovic play because I mean, honestly, he's probably the most fun guy to watch.
That dude is absurd.
Yeah, I mean, he's 37, 38, still playing at a top level team.
Yeah, he is. That's cool, man. That's cool. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I gotta ask him about soccer.
Yeah, no, I played some pretty high level soccer too. So it wasn't like I was just kind of there just playing. It was just, I mean, I was there competing. I had a couple offers for it, but I mean, eventually baseball kind of stuck to me, and I just got way better at baseball than I was at soccer. So
what position were you? I'm gonna guess. Were you a center back?
Yeah.
They always put the tall guys as center back.
See, like that's the thing. I wasn't tall until like my sophomore, junior year, and like other than that, I was like the outside mid. So like I was always like the speedy guy up the side. But then my junior year, kind of sophomore and the junior year summer, my select coach maybe go to center backs. Like I got taller and I was bigger than everyone.
Yep.
So it just kind of worked out in high school. I was just the bully. So
size is like 75% of that position.
Oh yeah, I mean I loved every second of center back too.
That's awesome, man. Cool, very cool.
Did you ever go up to U of M and watch I forget what two teams came every year. It's like the two biggest teams. I'm not a big soccer guy. Liverpool and Man United. They'd always come up to the big house every year. They'd pack that place out. Have you ever been to any of those?
I haven't, but like, I mean, I'd love to. I mean, I'd love to just go over to Europe and just go to any of those games because, I mean, that atmosphere is so much different than
it is.
I mean, honestly, it's like going to Arrowhead on like in a Super Bowl game or something like that because, like, that's what the atmosphere is like every single game there.
Brad is all about Arrowhead.
Yeah, I did go to college out in Kansas. I have a lot of friends who are Chiefs fans. They talk a lot of shit. I'm a big Ravens guy, so I'm a Baltimore boy. But yeah, it's a good atmosphere though, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Ravens fan too. Converted after I got drafted. Good. So yeah.
Good. Yeah, I've noticed Grayson's been repping the Ravens on Twitter a lot too, and a couple other guys. I think DL also. I heard him on 105.7 The Fan saying the same thing. So. Yeah,
I mean, it's just easy to root for them. I mean, they're just a really likable team, and they're good at what they do. I mean, there's not much to really knock against them. And like, I mean, I was always like a big Ray Lewis fan growing up, so like, it was really easy to go to the Ravens.
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to ask you about 2020 a little bit. Like, I don't know if you went to the alt site. Is that? No, you didn't. I heard you playing some sort of independent league against like Brandon Phillips or something.
Yeah,
what was that like?
That was interesting for sure because like it was like my team who were like a bunch of like guys who didn't really make it or like we're still trying to get signed, and then there was like 2 or 3 like pro ball guys still trying to like just play and kind of do the same thing that I was. But then like I mean that Legends team was stacked. I mean it was all ex big leaguers or like just dudes who were just trying to like get that big league contract. So like Robbie Rowe was there, Brandon Phillips, Ben Revere, there's just one other like major big leaguer that was there. So like I mean pitching against them, like that was probably the coolest thing in my life at that point because I mean Phillips is he lived in my hometown while he was with the Reds for a while. So
really?
Yeah, so he like that was a big deal for me was facing him because I mean I always saw his Lambo just roll up and down the streets every time like he was in town. So like I was just like hopefully maybe he'll remember me in like 5 years give me a ride in that Lambo. So
I mean, people forget at the end of Brandon Phillips' career, he's kind of fading out. But like when he was in his prime, Brandon Phillips was a big deal in MLB.
No, I mean he was probably one of the best second basemen there was.
Yeah,
he was pretty legit. Well, I was going to ask who's the best hitter you've ever faced. That might be Brandon Phillips then. If not, who would be the next guy after that stands out to you? And if there's a couple, feel free to name a few also.
I mean. Honestly, off the top of my head, I don't really have one that like comes to mind. But one of my buddies, Nick Schnell, I've like faced him a couple times in spring training, and he's like one of the hardest outs that I've ever had to like go through, just because he fights off everything. And I'm not sure if that's just because he's facing me or whatever, but like it's just so hard to get him out. And then,
I guess to piggyback off that, like when you're taking the hill, are you aware when there's like top 100 prospects in the other team's lineup, and when they're coming up, and is there like some extra juice going through your, emotions when that guy comes up?
Yeah, like, most of the time it's just like I'm gonna prove that you're not a top 100 prospect. Like that's what goes through my mind. It's like, hey, I'm gonna make you feel like you're not one of those guys.
But so you're pretty aware of that every time they come up then.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, most of that Somerset team was a really hard out too. I mean, that was a hard lineup to face. And then I faced Schwarber tomorrow, so that's gonna be interesting.
Hey, Schwarber tomorrow?
Yeah, so he's doing live up for like me and like a couple other pro guys and some big leaguers are doing lives tomorrow. So
man, that'll be cool. That's awesome, man.
Schwarber's a Sutsy guy, right?
Oh. Yeah.
Benintendi's, I believe, is from around there too.
So is that going to be like at a indoor training facility, or are you guys going to be outside?
No, indoor. It's still there's still too much snow and ice out.
Yeah, I figured.
So, Drew, which of the pitches that you throw, which of them is your best in your opinion, and why?
Honestly, it's definitely not my fastball. I don't throw that thing hard enough. But I locate that pretty well. But honestly, I like my slider. Just overall, like that's just kind of a pitch I have like feel for, and like I just think it does kind of the most that I want it to, and it just kind of works for a lot of people. And also, I like throwing my splitter a lot, or like when I can, or when I feel comfortable with it. It's still kind of working on like consistency still throughout all these levels. But splitter's a fun pitch just because I don't know where it's going, so the hitter doesn't know where it's going.
Yeah,
so it works. But I think knuckles, so I got no idea.
This might vary from level to level, but with pitch selection, how much of it is the catcher deciding what to throw and you deciding what to throw? Obviously they give you signs, but how often are you waving your guy off? Do you change how you approach it if you're really feeling a certain pitch on a given day?
Yeah. I don't really change it. Like we kind of have like a talk before we go out and like, hey, this is feeling really good today. Like, or like, hey, like this probably isn't going to be the one today. But for the most part, all our catchers, like I haven't really had to shake off too much unless like I really, really want to throw a certain pitch. Because like first things first, you're not going to shake off Rutschman. It's one thing you're not going to do. And then, honestly, all our catchers are just like super smart about pitch calling, and like I've never had a problem or anything with that, and like they've always been pretty attentive to everything. So like I've really had no problem with it.
Who was like your primary battery mate this year that you like, whatever catcher you saw the most?
Honestly, it kind of like it switched like pretty frequently because at first it was Mav, Hanley, and Aberdeen, and Cody Roberts too. And then Ramon Rodriguez, I had him like 4 or 5 times between Aberdeen and Bowie. But yeah, it was pretty much them. And then I had Chris Hudgens a little bit too towards the end. But it was pretty consistent for the most part about like how pitch calling was. It was pretty much a rhyme and reason to every pitch. And like it was all the same scouting reports. They were pretty all on time with everything.
Okay. And here comes the dreaded minor league questions. Without going into too much detail, whatever you can talk about, what's like the most pressing issues facing players in the modern minor leagues? We hear about food quality, housing, pay, a load of other things, but like maybe as a minor leaguer, you could touch on some of this a little bit.
Honestly, of course, everyone's going to want to get paid a little bit more because, I definitely wouldn't hate that. And, I think a lot of people would help out a lot, maybe not during season as much, but, like, definitely the off season where, like, people don't have to go out and find jobs and they can, like, really focus on kind of working on their craft and just getting better every day, like, day in, day out. But, guys have to focus on, first of all, providing for themselves and even their families, too. So, honestly, that's kind of a pressing issue, and hopefully, like, that gets addressed here soon. Maybe not in this CBA, but hopefully just somewhere along the lines we get a little bit more competitive pay. rather. But honestly, I'm really interested to see how this housing is going to go for this upcoming year, because I mean they say it's going to be paid for. There's a set of requirements and everything, so I'm kind of interested to see how it's going to go. But I mean, so far the Orioles have taken really good care of us, so like really there's no complaints there.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, I mean honestly they've been the best that I've heard, because like I mean other guys you hear like some horror stories and everything, but I mean I really haven't felt anything that's been like too bad. But I mean, of course, there's gonna be some spread issues on the road or something like that, or like even at home from time to time, depending on like the day or the week or like even the month or something. But I mean, for the most part, it's just kind of that pay issue, and I think that's probably gonna get addressed here with the next like 5 years. But honestly, I really haven't had a problem except for maybe like the spread on some places. But other than that, no real hard hitting issues.
Okay. Well,
yeah, we heard about Randy Dobnak having to take a job with Uber like a couple off seasons ago. Yeah. That was kind of a bigger story. Brought a lot of attention to this topic, though.
Yeah, and like honestly, with stuff like that, like Uber, DoorDash, something like that, I just think it's really easy for guys like us just to get into, like just really quick.
Yeah.
And like make some money just to spend. But I mean, I think for some people, they probably enjoy doing that just because it's something to do during the off season too, rather than just lifting and just sitting at home.
Right.
But I mean, I know other guys that have had to go get like pizza jobs or like something like that, but nothing too bad. So
good.
Cool. All right. So Drew, you've been a part of some pretty good minor league teams. The 2019 Delmarva team was the minor league team of the year. And then you were on with that stacked rotation with Grayson and who else you have on that? Yourself, Ofelke Peralta, Hector Guanch, Ryan Conroy, I believe, Ryan Wilson. So some guys like that. And then you were on the Bay Sox team that made a run to the championship versus Akron this past year. I got to ask, so what's the mindset like in the obviously as a competitor, you always want to win the game.
Yeah.
But when you're in the minor leagues, the goal is also you want to make the big leagues. You're chasing the show. So what's the mindset when it comes to the team environment? It's important to win versus individual performance. Talk to me a little bit about that. Like
so honestly, I've been kind of blessed because like I've had Kyle Moore for my manager to start off like the first 2 years, and like he always does a great job like on the first day, just kind of addressing like that, like basically that exact thing. He always says our goal isn't necessarily to win every single game, but our goal is to go out there each and every day and get like a little bit better every single day. And eventually like that'll lead to success. And as you see, like it has. And like, I mean, Buck kind of takes that same mindset too, which is why he has so much success as well. I mean, of course you want to win, but first things first, it's development. And I think a lot of people just kind of focus more on the wins, but they don't see the development behind the scenes that they do. Mm-hmm. And that like we've all kind of become accustomed to is kind of just going in there, doing our work, getting better each and every day. And then eventually it leads to success on the field.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. It's a good answer.
So Drew, you've moved up a level every year since you were drafted in 2018. I would say that's probably pretty rare, especially for somebody taken in the fourth round of the draft. Kind of a two-part question here. One, did you have any indication that they would be selecting you? Did they reach out beforehand during the draft?
No, initially I thought I was either going to be a Giant or a Red or a Pirate, because like those were the three teams I was talking to the most. And then the Orioles just called me basically on draft day, on like the first day of the draft, and said, hey, we're thinking about selecting you tomorrow. Like, of course, this is all going through my agent and everything, but he said, hey, we're probably going to select you tomorrow. Does this work? Like, does everything pan out, like money-wise, all that stuff? And like, it kind of took me by surprise because I was like, like I never really had any sit-down conversations with y'all or anything, but like, I mean, I'm not going to say no. So,
of course.
I was ready for it.
So they throw that money figure out to you, like when they're on the phone, when they're talking to you about selecting you, really?
Yeah, because I think for the most part, like that's kind of a big proponent for a bunch of guys, like especially early in the rounds, or like even high schoolers, especially because like
there's always that risk that they could go to college.
Exactly. So like that, I mean, that was the biggest thing for me, and just kind of feeling that it was the right fit. And I mean, honestly, just based on what my agent said at that time, and kind of like the, I guess the commitment they were willing to put in for me, like I mean, I was ready to do it. So
Good, man. And if I had to guess, based on the numbers you put up in Double-A last year, I would think they'll probably start you in Triple-A with the Tides this year. That's probably going to be a lot better of a team than it was last year, just by a wins and loss number, based on the guys who are moving up. How's it feel to be so close to the show, man?
Honestly, it's still a little bit surreal. Honestly, when people ask me about that, because I've gotten that question ever since I got drafted. Like, hey, when are you gonna be up on the show? But like, I'm 18. I'm in rookie ball.
Right.
And like a lot of people don't realize that, like, hey, we have to go through all these levels first and everything.
Yeah.
They just think, like, hey, you get drafted. It's like basically college basketball. Like, hey, you get drafted, you're going to the NBA or something like that. But they don't realize like all the time that you have to put in and everything. So for me, it's still kind of catching up to me a little bit. I think maybe once I get to Norfolk or something like that, it'll kind of start setting in a little bit. And then especially once I start seeing like Grayson or Adley go up there, kind of guys that I kind of grew up through this organization go up there with and playing there, I think that will really start to set in. And I'll kind of still start to feel like, hey, we're getting there. We're doing something right. So.
Like that.
Yeah, I hope you don't get to throw to Adley too often because he's in Baltimore. That's what I really hope happens as soon as we get baseball back.
I'm hoping the same thing for him too. I think he deserves it with all the work that he's putting in. So.
Yeah,
for sure. No, we're excited, man. It looks like there's a lot of good times ahead in Baltimore.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be excited about, especially in Birdland. Everyone coming up, they're legit. There's some dudes coming up. So
yeah, a lot of people nationally over the last few years have kind of looked at the Orioles. They don't really see what's going on underneath. They just look at the record on the big league squad and don't really understand what's coming and what's on the way. So I'm excited to see the team kind of go from laughingstock to, let's fucking go. Fuck you guys.
Especially in the AL East, it's hard because you got winning 90 games a year. So it's just like, hey, we're winning like 60. It's like, oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Like in other divisions, we'd probably be like somewhere up there. Like we'd probably still be in the talk or something like that. But since we have the Yankees, Red Sox, Rays, Blue Jays, all those guys, it's just like,
right.
Like who the heck are the Orioles? Like no one really talks about us. So
yeah, we did a whole episode breaking down like the future of the AL East and like what the kind of outlook for the Orioles window is like. And man, it's tough no matter how you draw it up. Like you said, a different division. I think they won 47 games last year. Like, what's that look like in the NL Central or something like that, where it's a much weaker division? Not getting beat up by.
They cracked 50 wins last year. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, 52.
Moot point.
But we got another number one pick on the way. Well, maybe. I'm not sure because they're doing a draft lottery now. So I don't know.
Oh, they are? Oh man.
They are, but I'm not sure. It's not clear if it's taking effect for the next draft or the year after. So I don't know.
I was saying, would it be the same thing as like the NBA, to where it's like what, the top 15 or whatever?
I think
like the top 5.
I didn't read much on it, and I just saw the tweet on it.
I don't even think they went into specifics about it yet.
They just said draft lottery. That's it.
Yeah.
Last I heard, they were talking about top 3. We went over that on this podcast, I think. So I'm guessing that's what it'd be, but I really don't know the details of what exactly it'll be and if it'll take place this year or next year. Hopefully the year after this year. So.
I'll say, even just like the top 3, you're not really getting much of a switch because you'll be able to kind of talk with the other teams who are in the top 3 to be like, hey, we're gonna take this guy unless you guys really want to pay him.
Right.
Yeah, sure. Marcelo Mayer was supposed to go number 1 overall, and he ended up 4th to the Red Sox. Henry Davis ended up going 1st overall. So yeah, in baseball, I don't think like the top 3 maybe is enough to do what they're trying to do, but we'll see when the details come out.
The whole Henry Davis thing was weird because I was at Super 60 with him. And I didn't even realize it. Because, he was kind of, like, no offense to him or anything, but, like, he wasn't, like, a huge name or anything out of high school. Yeah, or, like, I didn't really know who he was. But, like, of course, everyone knows the Rocker, the Hankins of the world and all that stuff. But I never really knew who he was until the draft.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think it's very typical for, like, a number 1 overall college pick to not have, like, a high school draft from when he graduated.
Yeah. Well, when Kellenick's there, and everyone else is kind of overshadowed by him anyways. So
yeah. I wanted to ask you, who's someone in the O's system that maybe doesn't get talked about enough? We hear a lot about Adley and Grayson and DL, and even Gunnar and Jordan Westberg have creeped in. We're excited to see Heston get into it this year. Maybe who's someone that's like really underrated in your opinion, though?
Honestly, like I hope like no one else like takes this to like anything bad or like because like I didn't mention him or anything. But honestly, I think Brandon Young is kind of one of those guys that he's like kind of on the prospect list or like on the fringe of it, but he doesn't really get talked about as much as he should. Because I think honestly he's very underrated in our system, just based on the tools he has and kind of what he brings to the table.
Okay.
Cool.
Brad, do you have any more?
I'm all wrapped up, man. That was definitely a good talk. A lot of good insight right there.
I have one more. So this is kind of a, I don't know how well you're going to be able to answer this one, but so it makes sense in my head, but it might not make sense when I say it. So as you know, fans of the team, we've seen what we perceive as a massive shift in just overall organizational philosophy since Mike Elias and his team came in. But you were drafted by Dan Duquette and the old regime that was in place at the time. And since you've seen both sides of the organization since that transition, have you seen the same differences that we've seen in regards to emphasis on the minor league system and international signings and all that?
Honestly, I think I've seen more than like they let on, because like they've completely transformed the whole minor league kind of development side. Because like I mean, everything they do, you have to have data to support it. There has to be like some numbers behind it or something. And I think that was kind of different between the old regime. It was just kind of very old school, like, hey, you pass the eye test, like, yeah, you're good to go. But like this regime, like even in the weight room, like we have sensors on everything to make sure you're putting power, like the proper power into every lift and everything. And I mean, even on the field, we're getting tracked what we do, how fast we're running, all that stuff. And I just think there's so much technology that they've brought in. And I think it's very useful. But I mean, that's also because I'm very science and like data minded. So maybe for other guys, it might not help them as much. But for me, like numbers make sense. Like numbers and science support development. So it's kind of like the driveline system. Like they're very good at what they do because of all the science behind it. And I mean, science most of the time is right. And I mean, you're not going to get like those oddities. It's all comes down to kind of what your body does and everything, and kind of like all the numbers behind it. So, I mean, I think the development will just keep getting better and better throughout kind of the next like 3 or 4 years. You guys really start to see kind of like all that come to fruition.
Yeah. When Mike was hired, I think I saw something that said like Dan employed, I want to say 1 or 2 guys that ran analytics. And that's just
one guy.
Yeah, one guy. In like the modern world where everyone else is just so heavy into the data and all that, I just can't believe that it would take them that long to get up to speed with the rest of the league.
Now we have probably like 30 people in analytics. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, I mean, at least I think every team has one, at least analytic advisor or something like that. And then, I mean, everything you do, there's analytics to everything. And I think that's kind of the biggest part. And I was really happy to see that, because I was kind of using the Rapsodo stuff before, so spin rate and everything before, and back then it was like kind of frowned upon a little bit, just because like they wanted the eye test, so like they wanted to make sure your stuff plays the eye, but not necessarily like they didn't really care all about the numbers. So I mean, I think it's really been a good change for Birdland.
Good, man. That's great to hear, actually. Really, really good to hear. It kind of confirms what we've believed that we were seeing. So that's awesome.
To kind of piggyback off that, I wanted to ask specifically a pitcher this. What do you think about the efforts to remove like shifts on the infield? I know that Double-A had a only infield on the infield dirt last year. What is your opinion on that?
So funny story, me and Tim DeJean actually got in like a big argument in Aberdeen, like not necessarily an argument, but like we were just kind of very vocal with kind of what each other wanted, because like he was big in the shift and data and everything. And like game after game, I just kept getting beat by the shift, and like I was just super annoyed at, and eventually just came to like bubble up. But then we just had like a nice sit down conversation and everything, like kind of explained it all. And like, yeah, in high A, like they're not going to hit to like the data points like they will into like even Triple-A and the big leagues. But I started to see like Double-A, hey, it's going to work. But like, I mean, high A was just really frustrating for me, because like these guys are still young, they're still trying to figure out everything. So like they're not going to hit to what their data shows every single time, and like I just kept getting beat by that every single time. So it's definitely going to be a good thing if they keep the shift, but like yeah, there needs to be some limitations on what you can and can't do.
I mean, I can't imagine being like a new baseball fan watching an MLB game and you see the infield, every single batter's in a different position. Imagine trying to teach like a little kid like where the shortstop's supposed to stand.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just simplify it as long as you can. Because, I mean, in high school or something like that, if you try to shift in high school, like, it's not going to work.
No, not enough sample size to track those
kids.
And,
like, dudes are just getting either overpowered or they just have no clue what the ball's going to do when it comes off their bat. But, like, guys, like, I started seeing Double-A, like, yeah, they have an approach to it, and, like, they're going to hit into that shift. So.
All right, anyone else got any questions, or are we all good?
That's all I got.
Wrapped up, man.
All right.
So, Drew, if you want to hang out for just a few minutes after we stop recording here, just wrap things up with you. But I think from all of us, man, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here tonight.
Yeah, that was a great insight. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, thank you guys. It was a lot of fun, and I definitely like these type of interviews way better than kind of like the professional setting. It's a lot more fun this way.
Yeah, we're just a bunch of idiots that throw back a few drinks and crack some jokes here and there, and it's a good time, man. We have fun with it. Yeah, if you know anybody else, man, that wants to that enjoys coming on to these things, feel free to send them our way.
I don't know, but I mean, I'll for sure ask around, see what some guys say. So,
all right, man, cool.
Cool. Well, appreciate thanks again to Drew Rom for joining us, and hope everyone enjoyed this interview. Thanks a lot.